So fixing a skinny fat physique is not quite as straightforward as just losing body fat or going from skinny to adding size. You can't just go on a diet and expect to look the way you want to, because if you go on a cut, you're going to lose muscle, size, and you're still kind of skinny fat, but with slightly less fat and slightly less muscle. So you're just a smaller version of skinny fat. On the flip side, if you go straight onto a bulk, you're going to gain a lot of unwanted body fat. The areas that you dislike now, like the love handles, the chest fat, belly, all going to grow throughout that bulk, which means you're either not going to want to bulk for very long, or you're just going to make yourself look worse and have to bite your teeth and bear it. But then the problem is with that, so when you get to the end of that bulk, you're going to have to go on a cut, and that cut's going to take even longer because of the body fat you've gained. And then by the end of that bulk, you may have not even actually netted any muscle. You may lose muscle if your default physique is a skinny fat physique. And these are the kind of struggles that I've had to go through being a skinny fat person myself, and I've helped fix well over 100 skinny fat physiques. And there generally is a better way to go about it. Instead of just doing bulks and cuts where you gain a bunch of body fat and lose a bunch of body fat and hopefully gain some muscle. And don't get me wrong, some people can do that. I'm not here to say it's the only way or it won't work. I used to do bulks and cuts. But the problem is I would do the bulk, I would gain a significant amount of body fat, and then have to do this horrible mammoth of a cut that always takes longer than you think. And by the end of it, I feel like I've lost more muscle than I put on, or at least if I'm lucky, look the same. And I'll probably put some photos up just to sort of show you how I've looked throughout the years, jumping between cuts and bulks. Now, if you're just pure skinny and you want to gain size, a bulk's going to be great. Keep it as lean as possible, don't eat too much, you'll be fine. If you're just genuinely overweight and you're not happy, then a small calorie surplus, bit of cardio, lifting some weights, you're going to be on a really good start from there. But if your body's skinny fat, you kind of have to be a lot more specific. Genuinely, it took me about 6 years to realize this. I was doing all the things I was told to have. Eat chicken and broccoli and rice, have creatine, take BCAAs, have pre-workout, like that's going to really do anything, and drinking protein shakes and all that kind of stuff. And although the foods were good and the training was good, I just wasn't getting anywhere. And that's when I realized, okay, I need to be really specific for my body type. So in this video, I want to break down, instead of doing bulks and cuts as a skinny fat guy, I would recommend something else. Now, just for clarification and sort of social proof or whatever you want to call it, I'm going to just, again, show you a bunch of clients that I've worked with and show you the befores and afters, just so you know, if I was watching a video like this, I'm like, who the hell are you telling me like about this, unless you can prove that you have some sort of experience. I've been helping skinny fat men lose body fat and gain muscle over the past 6 years. And the reason I'm making these videos is I get very, very annoyed by, you know, fitness influencers telling you like, oh, this is what I do, bro, this is how you do that. And a lot of them are lying. A lot of them take steroids and don't tell you about it. You know, even if they do tell you about it, which is fair enough. If they're on gear and they tell you about it, then that's all good. How they train, how they got their results is not how you're going to get your results. A lot of these coaches have already had athletic bodies from the get-go. So all they need to do is go to the gym, train however they want to train, eat whatever they want, and they're going to look better versions of what they already had as a good physique at the start. Whereas if you're starting with skinny fat, it's not that simple. This channel is dedicated to helping skinny fat men overcome all the bullshit and get the results that they actually want. So that being said, let me cut to the point. Instead of doing a bulk and a cut, let's say we take a typical skinny fat person, right? I always use Reese as my client all the time in these videos, so I'm going to use someone else. I'm going to use, who should I use? I'll use Matt. Matt's a really quick one. So as you can see in this photo, Matt, he's the typical skinny fat guy, right? He's got the belly, he's not really got a lot of muscle, and he's kind of sick to death of, you know, feeling like that. He said a few things to me that was quite funny, and it might sound rude if I say it, but he said he was a depressed fat fuck, and now he's not, which is great. But anyway, that's his starting point. Majority of men, if you're watching this video, maybe you can relate to the starting point. Now, he had been trying to lose body fat on his own for several years, and everything he did wasn't working. He was doing a lot of cardio, he was doing gym classes, playing tennis, badminton, going for runs, trying to, you know, cut out the junk food like everyone else does at the start. And it's still good things to do, I'm not knocking those things. But he wasn't getting anywhere fast. So his friend Ross actually worked with me. Here's a picture of Ross, absolute legend. And he noticed that Ross was losing body fat, gaining muscle, and he was still sat there drinking a pint of beer. And he was like, how the hell are you doing that? He's like, oh, I had this coach. Plug, me. Oh, that's terrible. But anyway, yeah, so he told him that he's working with me, and then Matt dropped me a message saying, hey, yo, this is a quote, yo, help me lose this gut. And he actually started this time last year, so just before Christmas, which is a bit ballsy, but fair play to him. I guess this is a good time to start, isn't it? Because the gyms are quiet, everyone's waiting for January, and there's less going on, so it's a lot easier to stick to it. Anyway, he jumped in around this time of year, and he said, I want to lose the belly, I want to lose some body fat, I want to gain a bit of muscle, I want to get fitter, stronger, and just feel generally a lot more attractive and feel good about myself and undo the damage that I'm heading on this slippery slope of getting worse. So we started him with a recomposition, and this is where I start, I'd say, a good 90% of my clients. If you're skinny fat and watching this, you probably should start with a recomposition. recomposition. Now, I don't want to make things sound all like buzzwordy or make them sound, you know, flashy and cool. Like, you know what YouTube fitness people are like, they make things up like, oh, here's my 47 steps to microbiome, keto, carnivore edition, shred, take BCA's, affiliate link, bullcrap, right? A recomposition is just losing body fat and gaining muscle. And the best way to do that as a skinny fat person is to have a few things in place instead of doing a bulk and a cut. So for step one with Matt is we worked out what his maintenance calories would be, factored in the workout plan that I put together for him so we know what his actual maintenance would be whilst he's doing that plan, and then we took away a small amount of calories, in this case 500 calories, a 500 calorie deficit. Now the reason 500 calorie deficit is good for skinny fat is it's enough of a deficit to actually lose significant body fat, but it's not a crazy deficit like 1,000, 2,000 where you're going to start to go catabolic and lose muscle tissue, right? So this way you can lose body fat, and if your training in macros are right and you're consistent and you actually overload, then you can still gain muscle in a deficit if you're relatively new, right? And most skinny fat guys are going to be relatively new. So we put together his calories and his macros to make sure it's correct for him. Now, if you're not sure what your numbers should be, or you need a little bit of help with this, and I think this is one of the most important things, and if you watch any of my videos, you probably see that I bang on about it all the time, because for me, that was the number one thing that turned my physique around. I was training consistently for 6 years. I was getting absolutely diddly results. I was getting fed up, and I was like, what am I doing wrong? I'm having chicken, broccoli, and rice. I'm training 5 days a week. I'm getting stronger, but I look the bloody same. And what was not right was my calories. My calories weren't correct. They weren't consistent, and I didn't know how to adjust them. So because of that, I do have a free nutritional blueprint in the bio. You can download that right now. It's nothing magical. It's free. It's just going to give you the exact calculation that I use for my clients and how to set up your macros properly and how to adjust them. So if you're not sure, go ahead and download that, because if someone gave that to me 6 years ago, I would look 10 times better right now. So anyway, worked out his numbers. 500 calorie deficit, that would equate to 3,500 calories per week, which is roughly about 1 pound of fat down. So with those kind of calories paired with the workout routine that he had, we were able to see progress significantly each week. We tracked his weigh-ins, we tracked his workouts, his performance, reps, all that good stuff, as well as his calories and macronutrients. And we'd also be able to look through the meals that he had. So, you know, just because you're tracking doesn't mean you're going to get results. You could track things completely wrong. I actually had one client who he was tracking his protein shakes as 100 grams. So he'd scan the bag, it said 100 grams, and he'd go, yep, and then he'd have 1 scoop. 100 grams is 4 scoops because 1 scoop is 25 grams. So he was off of his protein target for months before we realized that. So going through your macros properly with a professional, or at least doing it properly yourself, is a game changer. It will save you months, if not years. So we want to make sure the food is bang on correct. So we would review that each week through my app, and he would just track it in MyFitnessPal. That way we were able to see how his photos were looking, what kind of progress he was making, seeing the scale weight come down. And if something wasn't quite working, because we had everything tracked and logged, it was easy to adjust. So food wise, it was very simple. Flexible eating, eating what he wants, make sure he gets enough protein, hits his calories, that's that. If he goes over, he can either take it off a few days, or we can just roll with it, or we can do some extra cardio. As long as we had some sort of overview that the food was being looked after, we were pretty much golden. And I'll be honest with you guys, that your 80% of your results is going to come from that. That's why I go on about it. Yes, it's boring. Yes, it's obvious. Yes, it's simple. So many people overlook it. I have people reaching out to me saying, hey man, I want to work with you as a coach. And I'm like, cool, have you done this? Have you done that? And they're like, oh, no, I haven't done that. It's like, cool, probably that's all you need to do. That's the food side of things. And if you're not sure, download the free guide. And if you're really not sure, you can drop me a message on Instagram at Elite Transformation Project, and I will do my best to go through it for you. So workout wise, a lot of people think, right, I want to lose body fat. What should I do? Should I do Zumba? Should I do... No one thinks that. Should I do CrossFit? Should I do cardio? Should I do hypertrophy training? And again, I'm not here to say you can't do those things, because they're all going to spend calories, so they're not wrong, and it's good exercise. But if you're like, I want to lose this gut, and I want to build up my arms, I want to build up a chest, I want to walk on the beach looking sexy, let's just be real, that's what we want, then you're probably best off focusing on resistance movements and compound movements with a bit of a strength bias. Now, muscle hypertrophy training is great, and you would definitely want to do that in your journey so you can grow, but at the start, you want to get rid of that body fat. And getting rid of the body fat, getting stronger is a great way to do that, because of a few things that will happen. One, you're going to exude a lot of energy lifting bigger and heavier weights, and because it encourages your body to have to perform, have to put up with such levels of resistance, and you're in a calorie deficit, then your body's adaptation to that is going to have to lose body fat and keep the muscle to keep up with what you're putting it through, providing your sleep and your protein intake is good. So getting stronger on a cut, or in this case a recomposition, a slight calorie deficit, you'll most likely lose body fat and keep more muscle. Whereas if you lift light weights for squeezed reps, slow and controlled, which is great, but you're in a calorie deficit and you're eating less food, you might actually shrink. And that might not be for everyone, okay, but I'm giving you my experience. When I did my first cut, I went light and controlled like everyone told me to, and I fucking shrank. Look, here's the photo of, I did a bulk and I did a cut, and this is what I looked like. I was pissed. I thought, right, no more cuts for me, right back on the bulk. Then I got fat, had to do a cut again. I just wasted so much time. I didn't realize you had to get stronger on a cut. Everyone says go lighter, but the people that say go lighter on a cut are generally taking performance enhancing drugs. So their recovery is great, and they're already anabolic, so they can go light and it's going to work. I ain't taking shit. You probably ain't taking shit. And if you are going to take shit, get a different channel because we are natties over here. Anyway, mini rant over. Performance-wise, you want to get stronger. So pick a workout routine. It doesn't have to be crazy at the start. Yes, you know, a couple years in, the workout routine might need to be quite technical. You might need to be very specific. I've had clients come to me that are already in pretty good shape and they've hit a plateau, and we've had to really be technical with the training. Like my client Avi here, he already had a decent physique, you know, slim but good muscle mass, nothing really lacking, but he wanted more size. So his training is a lot more precise than the average Joe. So we all have different genetics, biomechanics. Yes, training can get complicated, but if you're starting out as skinny fat, you're going to need a basic plan that you can actually stick to long term. So I recommend a bro split, a pull push legs, or an upper lower body day, depending on how busy you are, or one muscle group per day of the week if you really want to. As long as it's consistent and you're able to track it and progressively get stronger and add reps over time, it's going to benefit you, right? Don't get too caught up in the technicals. Just make sure your form is good and that you're actually pushing yourself. Track that and review it. Now with Matt, he tracked it in my app so I could see the reps and the weights that he was doing. We could look at the charts and see how he was performing over the long term and make adjustments as and when needed. Of course, there's a lot more that can go into this, but this video will get really long and probably very boring. And if you've watched it this far, fair play, because these videos can get boring, but I'm trying to put the information out there to help. If you have watched it this far, comment what we got here. You can comment about. Tell you what you can comment. You can comment Azaro Chrome. Comment Azaro Chrome, mate. 200 ml, big old stonky bottle. Makes that look funny as well. People go to the comments and I'm like, why is everyone, what's Azaro Chrome, man? So yeah, anyway, let me wrap this up. So I've basically just covered the nutrition and an overview of training. And there's obviously a lot more that can go into it, but these are the basic things. You don't need to be overwhelmed. You don't need some magical system. You don't need an influencer's fucking supplement stack. You don't need their crazy, mad, over-the-top programming that you think is going to do well because they say they do it, but they probably don't. It's just to make it sound interesting, so you buy it. There's just a lot of bullshit out there. A basic resistance training routine that you can stick to with some form of overload, and if you're tracking your calories and macros and reviewing your progress each week, you're off to a winning start, and that will get you 80% of the way there. Now, if you're really, really struggling, or you're just thinking, do you know what, I'm fed up, I need the help, I do coach people one-to-one. That is the only thing I do. I don't do plans. I don't do PDF meal plans with sausages on it and saying, oh, eat the low-fat ones, bruv. It is just one-to-one, hands-on coaching, just like all my clients that I showed you at the start, and that's how Matt did it as well. A lot of people know what to do. Doing it is another story, and navigating the ups and downs and the plateaus is the hard part, and that's where I step in. So if you want some help from me directly one-to-one, given it's that time of year, I do have some spaces. You can message me at Elite Transformation Project on Instagram. If you don't have Instagram, you can email me at samstantonfitness@gmail.com. Or if you want to skip through all that, I do have a call link in the bio. I put this in my last video actually, and I wasn't sure about it, but I've had a bunch of people come through there and they've been really cool people. So if it's something you're interested in, if you want to work with me one-to-one, you can book a call. We can have a quick chat and see if it's right for you. If there's any other way I can help you out, don't hesitate to drop a comment or drop me a message at Elite Transformation Project, and have yourself an amazing day. Oh yeah, like and subscribe. If I say that, more people do it. And I want to build this channel up. Why not? It's quite fun. Like and subscribe, and have yourself an amazing weekend. And Feliz Navidad.